In our world here, there are many types of creatures, and each type has its own abilities and special skills. And amongst them are some humans, like our hero Light, who frankly serve no purpose at all. And one day Light decided to leave his home to become an adventurer and went to the big city to register at the Adventurers Guild. As soon as he arrived, he met the kind receptionist who helped him register. And since it was his first time registering at the guild, she told him he would start from the lowest rank, which is F. And she told him frankly, you serve no purpose and are completely useless. And she also asked him, do you have any talent or special ability you can use? Our hero Light replied enthusiastically and said to her, yes, I have a skill called the gotcha skill. The receptionist stood stunned for a few seconds as if she couldn't believe what she heard. But he really meant it, and he has a strange luck wheel that he can summon. And when he presses it, it gives him a random item each time. He said to her, I'll show you an example so you understand what I mean. He summoned the wheel of luck and pressed the button. The wheel spun immediately and gave him a bent fork. He tried to justify that this strange fork he got might have some use, but the receptionist still didn't understand his strange ability. He tried a second time, and unfortunately, it gave him a rotten apple that no one could ever eat. The receptionist, of course, wanted to hit him, but since she is respectful, she tried to control herself and said to him, son, with the skill you have, you will never ever get promoted and will remain in Frank forever. He said to her, okay, so what jobs can I do to earn money now? And what quests suit my rank? She quickly showed him the board with all the available quests, but unfortunately our hero was completely illiterate and couldn't read or write, obviously because he never went to school. The receptionist felt his suffering and said to him, all right, I'll explain everything to you. And she started reading the quests listed on the board. She told him that the quests suitable for him currently are jobs like gathering firewood, moving soil, or cleaning gardens, but the pay is very little and barely covers your expenses. He said to her, fine, no problem, I agree to these quests. And indeed, on the same day he worked and tried his best with his small body, and by the end of the day he had barely earned some money to pay the rent for his house. But as he was walking at night, a group of human-like monsters saw him and knew he was new. They went and beat him up and stole his money. Light kept begging them to return his money, saying, if you take everything I have, I'll have to sleep on the street. But the monsters laughed at him, and no one in the street cared about what he said because humans in this world are at the bottom, the lowest beings in rank and power, and of course no one was prepared to defend him. He sat in the middle of the mud as people passed by kept looking at him and bullying him. They kept saying hurtful words to him like he's a useless human, until one person actually stopped to help him. She reached out her hand to him. At first he thought she was a human, but when he looked closely he found she was from the elf race. He was startled and scared, quickly pulled his hand back, and thought she would take advantage of him. But the elf said to him, don't be afraid, and sat next to him, hugging him to calm him down. Light couldn't believe his eyes. How could an elf treat him so kindly? But she seemed truly sincere with him. She introduced him to the rest of her team, and told him that they are called the Tribal Union, a team composed of 9 different races, and their goal is to end the racism between the races existing in this world. The leader's name is Guru, and he is one of the monsters, and the elf's name is Sa. She told him, we have almost all races, but we are missing a human, and that's why we want you to be the 9th member of the team. It sounded good on paper, but why did they choose a weak 12-year-old child who is useless? But never mind, let's see how it ends. And from that day on, every time the team went out on a mission, Light would go with them just as a pack carrier. Unfortunately as he is, he remained useless. In less than 10 minutes on the first mission, he was about to die from a huge troll that attacked him, and luckily Draghi and Sasha saved him at the last moment. Sasha said to him, focus, Light, this place is one of the most dangerous dungeons in the world. Any creature here could kill you in an instant and you must stay close to us. He apologized and Sasha tried not to upset him, saying, come here, let me see if you're hurt, while checking on him. The rest of the team started getting annoyed. Why are you always so affectionate with him? They laughed and left them. After that, they continued their path deep into the dungeon and placed Light in the middle so nothing would happen to him, until they reached a narrow passage. Guru said, this is a suitable place to sleep. Light thought they were going to rest, so he put down his backpack and started making tea for everyone. But Draghi said to him, it's not necessary. We're not stopping here to rest. We're stopping here because we've decided to expel you from the team. Oh, the shock was huge for our hero Light. He said to them, are you joking or are you serious? They said to him, no joking, the talk is for real. Even Sasha, who was kind to him a moment ago, did a 180-degree turn and said to him, you are a pathetic and stupid human and your presence with us serves no purpose. Light, not understanding anything, said to them, wait a moment, why are you saying this? So they started explaining to him that all the time that passed they were acting for him. They told him that all the talk about equality and ending racism was all a trick and a lie. We are in fact among those who hate humans the most. In short, from the first day they wanted to get rid of him. He asked, then why did you waste your time and bring me with you in the first place? Guru replied and said to him, we wanted your skill. Your skill is called gotcha, right? Correct? It's a lousy skill, but it resembled a skill called the maestro, and the officials above wanted to see if this skill would develop and become useful or not. That's why they asked us to treat you well temporarily. And in the end, they saw that you were a disgusting brat, you and your skill, so we no longer need to pretend that we love you. Light stood stunned, not comprehending everything that was happening, but they didn't care. On the contrary, they intended to end the matter literally. And Guru said to him with a wicked smile, you will never ever get out of this dungeon alive, and right after these words I will attack you. He wounded him in the face. Blood poured down, terrified and scared. He got up and ran with all his energy to escape, but they laughed and said to him, even if you run away, the first monster you meet will finish you off immediately. You'd better stay here so we can kill you with our own hands. Sasha immediately raised her bow and shot him, and her arrow pierced his leg. He fell to the ground screaming in pain while the others were laughing and happy to hear his screams. Oh, the boy was literally being humiliated to the extreme. Guru approached and started kicking him with his foot to make him cry more, but Draghi said to him, enough, we're supposed to say that a monster attacked him, and we can't leave marks proving we were there. Guru laughed and said to him, it's no use, you can't escape from us ever. But Light, despite the wound, kept crawling and trying, and suddenly, while trying to get away, he touched something on the ground. It was a magical teleportation trap. The trap immediately activated, and he was instantly transported to one of the floors existing in the deep dungeon. So he is literally away from those who betrayed him, but frankly, that doesn't mean he is safe. Because this place is literally deeper and more dangerous, and everything in it could kill him in a second. He knows, of course, that he is weak and knows that the first monster he meets will be his end. He sat on the ground trying to process what happened and why they turned on him so suddenly. He was saying, I was with them all this past time, and I thought they loved me and they were my friends, treating me with tenderness and respect, and it turned out all of that in the end was an act. It became clear that they were just using him because they thought he had a rare skill, and when they discovered his skill was lousy, they decided to get rid of him. Tears fell, and he said, I will never forgive them ever. Even if it's the last thing I do, I will live and come back to kill them one by one. But suddenly he heard a sound behind him. He turned and found a giant rock monster named Chimera. Its level is 1000. Even the strongest adventurers are around levels 300 and 400, meaning this monster is tens of times stronger than them. The monster approached him. Light was literally scared to the point that he felt his body paralyzed and couldn't move from his spot. He knows, of course, that there is no chance to escape. He has nothing but his gotcha skill, which he always saw as useless, but he has no other choice but it. He started pressing the button frantically, once, twice, a third time, and at the moment the monster jumped on him to kill him. The wheel lit up and suddenly transformed, and a very beautiful maid girl came out of it. She extended her hand and with a single strike she erased the monster from existence. Light, of course, stood shocked and unable to believe what happened. The girl approached him, knelt on her knees, put her hand on his face to heal him and said, I can't bear to see wounds on a beautiful body like yours. And suddenly all the wounds he had disappeared. The girl called him my master and asked him, what is your name? He said to her, my name is Light. She said to him, from today, I am your loyal servant for life. My name is Mai and I am nicknamed the Eternal Seeking Maid. And by the way, this girl's level is over 9000. Mai told him, I am a very rare result from your skill, and my spirit is now linked to you. In short, he made an ultra-legendary pull from the luck wheel he has. Light wasn't comprehending what was happening. He, of course, always thought it was a useless skill, so how did such a powerful being come out of it? Mai said to him, allow me to examine your skills to determine their true power. Mai was surprised to find that she also has the appraisal skill. He said to her, fine, do what you want. She started examining him, and after a while Mai was surprised and said to him, your skill is protected by many layers of magic, and only people of my level can see and know its truth. From what I see, you can use this skill an infinite number of times, and the prizes that come out of it depend on the concentration of mana in the place. She told him that the prize grades start from normal up to an ultra pull. He, of course, didn't understand what she was saying. Mai started explaining to him and said, the mana that exists in the air and everywhere on the Earth's surface is very weak, which is why your chance of pulling something strong from this wheel of luck is very weak. But in the depths of this dungeon, the mana here is very strong, so the chance of success increases thousands of times. And this, of course, is the reason why Mai came out for him in the ultra pull. And she said to him, you came down here intentionally to activate your true power? But he shook his head and said to her, I was deceived. The people I thought were my friends betrayed me, hurt me, threw me away. And he practically sang her the story of his life. He told her that all he wanted was to live a good life for his family, but they tried to kill him because he is a human and from the human race. He shouted, I will never forgive them as long as I live. Mai immediately hugged him and said, I understand your pain. I may not be able to feel it, but I can make you feel comfort as long as you are with me. And she said to him, give me the order and I will cut off their heads and finish them all in an instant. Light immediately stood up and said to her, no, don't kill them. She said to him, why? These people don't deserve mercy. He said to her, I don't want you to kill them, not because I'm kind, but because I will take revenge with my own hands. He said to her, I was weak and deceived. Next time I will be strong enough so that this doesn't happen again. Mai smiled and said to him, okay sir, no problem at all. If you want to become strong like that, I will help you with all my strength, and I will make you the person who can get his rights by himself. Good for you, Mai. And wow, our hero Light, folks, will transform from a lousy kid and will possess a legendary and very awesome skill. We continue our story and learn that after 3 years, in the middle of the dungeon where Light was, he used his gacha skill to build a complete empire. He summoned a full army of powerful servants who were literally obsessed with him and loved him very much. We see that every female servant is literally in love with Light, saying they must have used up all their luck just to be close to him. One of them even added that she herself wanted to hug him, and literally all the female servants were out of control. Later, Light goes out to greet his people. Everyone literally loves him and wants to offer him the best food. If some people are short on supplies, Light is a kind leader and sits to report to the administration. Mai is following everything and wants to solve any problem immediately so that Light's image doesn't look bad. After that, Light noticed that the population had increased a lot over 3 years, so he might review and adjust the entire system anew. Then Light asked about his top warriors, whom he had summoned, of course, through his special gacha magic. They are all from rare cards of level 9999, whom he had summoned before. Mai told him that each one is currently on a mission. She tells him that Ayuki is scouting the upper part of the dungeon and making maps of the forests surrounding the dungeon, which are full of monsters and shouldn't be trusted. She's a genius tamer, and Ai is working on developing new magic as part of Light's grand plan. Of course, Light is busy with many things back to back, so he hopes Ai doesn't get confused by the great pressure on her. Light thanked Mai, telling her he is grateful for all the help, but he noticed she didn't mention Nazuna, so he was surprised and asked her what she's been doing these days. Mai laughed and told him that Nazuna is currently walking around the palace, not because they need extra security, but frankly because she is very stupid and doesn't know how to do anything except fight. In the palace, Nazuna is walking happily without a clear goal, but as long as she doesn't cause trouble, no one says anything to her. We return to Light after that. It's time for his daily training. He went to meet one of his powerful servants named Jack. Even though he has a huge army to protect him, he still wants to become strong enough to rely on himself. We learn that Light has been training with Jack for 3 years and can indeed fight him as an equal. On the other hand, Nazuna is still walking around the palace until she saw some servants sweeping. She told them she was on a very secret mission, so they started praising her, saying she was doing an excellent job. They were complimenting her because they wanted a favor from her. The fool Nazuna fell into the trap as usual. They told her about a special place they wanted her to go to as part of her patrol, and she immediately agreed. This special place is Light's room. After a while she went to knock on Light's room door, but the one who opened was Mai. Mai was surprised why Nazuna came to Light's room. Nazuna said she wanted to search inside. Mai said the room is well secured, but Nazuna said, since Light is training outside, what are you doing in his room? Mai replied, a skilled maid is never idle, but Nazuna ignored her and entered. She noticed that someone had just been tossing and turning on the bed, messing up the pillows and was busy smelling them. Mai was very annoyed and said, this is my special way of making beds, it's a trade secret and it's none of your business. Nazuna believed her and was impressed, saying to Mai, you are worthy of your status as the first summoned. Then she handed her a letter from the other maids, who were of course upset about Mai monopolizing Light's room. They wanted to enter his room themselves to clean it. Nazuna asked Mai, do you want me to help you with something? Mai understood the message very well and gave Nazuna a small reward and made her leave. Nazuna went to buy sweets with the reward. After that, she met Ayuki on the terrace. Nazuna was surprised and said, weren't you on a reconnaissance mission? But Ayuki was mumbling and wasn't understandable at all. Nazuna thought she was saying, destroy the entire forest, and she was indeed about to do so until Ayuki was forced to speak normally, and told her she was just bringing a part of the finished map. Nazuna laughed and said, well, you should have said so from the beginning, took the map from her and continued her tour. Later she entered the throne room, and when she found the place empty, she seized the opportunity, went and sat on Light's throne, and started snuggling into it. She began to pamper herself, thinking that Light missed her, and she hadn't seen him today. Suddenly she heard a loud cracking sound and discovered she had broken one of the throne's armrests. She got very scared and started fixing it quickly so it would look intact, but of course she just stuck it back anyhow and ran out scared and terrified. Outside the palace, Light and Jack finished their training and decided to go to the bathhouse to relax. Jack told him he had become excellent at controlling his body, and his level was now higher than many fighters. But he warned him not to be overconfident because they don't know what might await them if they leave the dungeon. Light said, "I understand your words well, and I won't let the power control me, so when the time for revenge comes, I won't mess things up." At the same time, Mei gathered the 4 maids who sent the letter and started yelling at them saying, "You know why I brought you here?" They tried to deny it, but she had memorized the letter word for word, and Nazuna had literally told her everything, so they had no escape. They started apologizing, saying they did it just to lessen her burden. But Mei was very angry, especially since they made Nazuna deliver the letter instead of them. She told them their request was denied, and as punishment she would make them clean the entire corridor leading to the throne room with their own hands, and without magic of course. They were shocked and told her the task was impossible, but Mei said, "This is a chance for you to practice patience." She also announced she was going on a mission to the surface, so they had to do all the work in her place. After that we see Nazuna standing in front of a weapon shop, and what does she see by chance? She remembers she came to buy sweets, but she tells herself, "Nazuna, you saw some very fancy fighting gloves and really want to get them." At that moment she was surprised that Ai was there with her now and not at her work. So Ai tells her, "Things are going well, so I decided to take a break and relax." Then Ai decided to provoke Nazuna and show how stupid she is. She asked her some multiplication table questions, and with the first question Nazuna answered wrong. They started squabbling and all the city's inhabitants were watching them. Ai continued her provocation of Nazuna, saying, "Light is relying on me for the main revenge plan, not like you. He makes you wander around on useless patrols." Nazuna said, "My patrols are important, not like what you imagine." I continued provoking her, saying, "Yesterday I drank tea with Light, just the 2 of us." Nazuna became very upset. She wished she could sit with him and drink tea too. Ai told her, "Next time, Light will even book a special room for me and sit with me." Suddenly Ai realized that Nazuna was saying, "You're a witch and your mana energy could run out at any moment during battle. If you need any help from me during the fight, I'll be by your side and help you." So I took it to heart and said, "Agreed," and left. Nazuna was happy walking away so she wouldn't be sad. Later the 4 maids sat in their room very upset. They said the punishment was unfair and that only Mei has the right to enjoy Light's scent and be with him always. One suggested they poison and kill her, but one of them said that Mei is immune to poisons and nothing affects her at all. So they gave up and started crying that they wanted to clean Light's room to smell the scent of his bed. One of them said she wanted to eat with a fork that Light used, but another replied, "The obsession hasn't reached that level yet." Jealousy among them literally started working at the highest level. They remembered that Mei is no better than them because she was on his bed today and also was the first one Light summoned. And she spent many months alone with him when he was weak. So they decided to cast a curse out of their jealousy and started wishing she would die. By their bad luck, Mei was standing behind the door and heard everything they said. She entered suddenly and said, "Would you like to say something else?" They immediately got scared and started trembling, saying they didn't mean anything they said. But she heard them herself. In the end, they admitted they were jealous of her because she was the first one Light summoned. Mei told them that nothing inappropriate happened between her and Light, and she was only teaching him combat arts and history. She also said she was intending to apologize to them for the previous punishment, but after what she heard she decided to increase the punishment and asked them to clean the throne room as well. While cleaning, one of them was cleaning the throne, and the armrest that Nazuna had broken fell off again. They all fell silent, realizing they were in big trouble. The next morning Light goes out to meet Ai and Nazuna, who were squabbling as usual. Nazuna was very happy that her wish came true and she saw him. Light was treating Yuki like a cat, and the others were of course extremely jealous of each other. Suddenly a hellhound appeared, the same type of monster that attacked Light when he first arrived in the dungeon long ago. Light's body was still trembling from the memory of that terrifying day, but now the situation is different because he has his warriors around him, who are ready to fight at any time. Nazuna of course got extremely angry and said, "How dare a dog challenge Light while I'm here?" And Ai was also furious and said, "I'll teach it manners." And Yuki was also upset and decided to kill it and wipe its entire species from existence. They looked at the monster and said, "Get ready for our level 9999 power." They were just about to finish it off, but Light calmly stopped them and said, "I'm fine now." They immediately listened to him and stepped back. After that, Light apologized to the monster for scaring it and said, "If I had let them at you, they would have literally erased you from existence." Then Light told them the reason he gathered them, which was of course after he received word that Mei's mission was successful and it was time to execute the plan. The prey took the bait and it's time to execute the second step. The other girls are very jealous of Mei because she knows everything and has surpassed them in preparing the plan, but at the same time they are also extremely excited. Light told them, the time for revenge has now come, for which he has been preparing for 3 years. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.